Read the lads and lasses, how we're doing and welcome back to the channel. Newcastle United finally return back to Premier League action tomorrow 8 PM at the Emirates, and I'm just going to say straight off the bat, I am pretty nervous going into this one with Arsenal Football Club. I am genuinely very scared, not only because Arsenal are of course near the top of the Premier League, they're a high and flying team, they are just genuinely a very good team, we've got to say it. I'm not scared because of that reason, but I'm scared because, and I am going to say it, the controversial goal at St James's Park, these lot, the players, the fans and the manager, we know what they go on like. We've seen the Amazon documentary, how they always wanted revenge on Ivan Toney and Brentford when he put that tweet about saying just had a kick about with the lads when they beat Arsenal. But these lot are going to want to absolutely murder us at the Emirates. They want payback big time, and yet again I am very scared. But not only have we got a match preview with, as always, statistic and analytics for the game, but we've also got injury news and fantastic injury news as a probably former ex-Arsenal player can come back in this game for Newcastle United, and that man is Joe Willock. I can't wait for his arrival, and Alexander Isak is in contention for this game. Without further ado, let's get into the match preview. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the match preview. You let me know your score prediction down below in the comments. Of course, you will get mine very later on in the video. Like if you do enjoy the match preview, because of course I give one for every single game. Subscribe if you're new around here. And I've also got some discussions going later on in the video. And actually, for recording this video, as it is of course an away game at the Emirates playing Arsenal, I was thinking I'm going to switch it up. I always wear the bog standard Newcastle United top, and I like to sometimes wear my retro kits. And I was thinking, right, I'm going to put the away kit on for the away game. And I've realised I've got Sandro Tonali's signature on the back. No way in hell am I risking that. And I've done that before this season with also not being able to wear a shirt. With that exact Sandro Tonali kit there, with the third shirt this season, honestly, I'm going to stop meeting my heroes now. But anyways, the injury news that we have been given in Eddie Howe's press conference this morning for the Arsenal game, it's actually positive for a change. There's no news on Nick Pope, who of course was actually rumoured to be coming back pretty soon. Fingers crossed he is. But we've got it on Alexander Isak and Joe Willock, and this is exactly what Eddie Howe had to say. Alexander Isak and Joe Willock have trained for the first time this week and are definitely in contention and are fine to be in the squad for Arsenal tomorrow. One more session to go, which just means they've got one more training session to play today. And but he's pleased with their progress 100%. Now, further down the line, he said Fabian Schär, as we're seeing that photo with Fabian Schär, he kind of had his arm in a sling with his t-shirt against Bournemouth, but Eddie Howe says he's absolutely fine. It was sort of a risk damage that he'd done. Fabian Schär is an absolute warrior, may we just say. And of course, Matthew Target and Elliot Anderson, he did say just below that they are getting closer. Not really back in contention for this game whatsoever, but they are getting closer, and we're going to definitely accept their rivals. Now, onto this game. And of course, this is going to sound pretty okay, but Newcastle United against Arsenal, it's a must-win game for Newcastle. Of course it is. It's pretty daft me saying that, but I'm going to explain why in just a second. Of course, every single team goes into a game to win it, but this one, it's a must-win for Newcastle United. When we've been dropping points to the likes of Bournemouth and Luton at home, and I don't want to discredit them because they've been playing fantastic against us, and they definitely both deserved a point or even more, but when we should be beating them teams at home, and we're not beating them teams at home, we'll have to pick up points elsewhere. Is Arsenal on paper a place where we should be going and winning them? Absolutely not. We'll get into statistics why just a bit later. It's not somewhere we should go be winning. Of course, last season we absolutely shithoused a 0-0 draw over there. We sat back the whole game. We had barely any chances. We sat out there for the 0-0 draw. It's not football. It wasn't great to watch, but we got a result, and I'll definitely take that yet again this season. But what I was going to say is, like when we're dropping the points against Bournemouth and Luton, we need to be winning this one, and I genuinely think we can get something from this game, and it's not because of any statistics. It's not because I think we can hurt them in certain areas. It's because we support Newcastle United. And what I mean by that is Newcastle United, the team, the gift that keeps on giving, the unsurprising that keeps on surprising, dropping points to Luton and Bournemouth at home, but we go beat Aston Villa 3-1 away, where they were one day short of being a full calendar year unbeaten there. Honestly, this team is the most unpredicted team in the Premier League. Never bet on Newcastle United. But on to Arsenal, and just before I say that, if Newcastle United do win this game and Brighton lose their game against Everton at the Amex Stadium, of course Brighton's home ground, we go above them. Or if Brighton even draw that game, and I'm pretty sure Everton absolutely dominated them at the Amex last season. Fingers crossed from Everton, that's the only time I'll be asking them to win a game. But on to Arsenal. As much as they were whining, as much as they got on my nerves, as much as they were crying about the VAR decision, they are an unbelievable team, ladies and gentlemen. Seriously, they are, and I just give credit where credit's due. They've won 5 games in a row in the Premier League. Not as good as our little runs last season, but yes, they have won 5 games in the Premier League, and that includes a 3-1 win against Liverpool, who are top of the Premier League right now. That also includes a 6-0 thrashing away at West Ham, a Europa League outfit. Absolutely unbelievable. But just off the back of that 6-0 win, of course, that is still running in the Premier League, but that's been shut down over all competitions as they lost last night. Was it last night? or might have been 2 nights ago, Wednesday, I believe it was Wednesday, so 2 days ago basically, they lost to Porto 1-0 in the 90th minute, pretty heartbreaking fashion, but they did lose to Porto in a game which they probably should have won. Confidence maybe going down from that game, but they went full strength in that game, by the way. May I just say they had Martin Odegaard on the pitch, Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice, Gabriel Magalhaes, William Saliba. Genuinely, they went full strength against Porto, and they did lose that game. And there's certain points in this team where I think it might be pretty obvious to you, but I'm going to say it yet again, where I think Arsenal can seriously punish Newcastle United. There's a couple of players in that team which it only takes individual quality, like Martin Odegaard. We've seen that firsthand at St James's Park last season. He's an unbelievable player. He's one of my personal favourites away from Newcastle United players. Free kicks, corners, penalties, crossing. Maybe actually, and I know he scored, was it an outside the box shot at the Gallagher end last season? But genuinely, I don't think shooting actually is his main point. When he shoots, he's pretty good, but he doesn't actually seem to want to shoot that much. And I don't know why, maybe a sort of fear in front of goal. But honestly, he is an absolute magician, a Norwegian broad talent. He is very, very good. But on the other hand, we've got a man who's not very particularly liked by the Newcastle fans, and that man's Kai Havertz. He's been, when he played for Chelsea, of course, he got that last minute winner at Stamford Bridge in the 21-22 season. Yes, it was a 21-22 season. Just got away from Dan Burn in the last minute. Dan Burn's had a fair few encounters with him. But on the other hand of that, yet again, this promises to be a very, very high intensity and a very strong game. Honestly, lads, stay tuned for the live stream tomorrow, because I will be live streaming for that. I can't wait for this one. Bruno Guimaraes, the man who Arsenal wanted, he turned them down. He was absolutely clattering them all over the park at the Emirates Stadium, and he didn't even get booked for it, did he? I think he was actually wanting to get booked for a sort of suspension to get that over and done with, to miss the next couple of games, as of course he is still on a 9 yellow cards for the rest of the season. If he gets banned in this game, or he gets yellow carded in this game, he does miss the next 2 games. But obviously, there is one point in this team where I don't like to say it because it's so repetitive yet again, but there's one place in this team where Arsenal can really penetrate Newcastle United. Like, seriously, this is where they will go and win the game. And it's Bukayo Saka against Dan Burn, if Dan Burn starts. Now, I'm not fully against Dan Burn. I don't want people to say, oh, Dan Burn, blah, blah, blah. I'm not fully against him. I absolutely adore him. He is a Geordie, as most people do like him. Who wouldn't want a Geordie to do well in the team? Do you know what I mean? But against Arsenal, where, let's be real, Gabriel Martinelli, Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Jesus, three forwards there who are pretty poor in the air and are all pretty small as well. You would only start Dan Burn in the games where there is aerial threat from the other teams. For example, Manchester City, you've got Erling Haaland in that team. You need someone who is really, really going to be sort of getting at Erling Haaland. That's Sven Botman, Fabian Schär, and Dan Burn's job. You need to be doing stuff like that. But what I've just mentioned there, we're talking like 5'9" players, to be exact, with Gabriel Jesus. He possesses no aerial threat whatsoever. And the other 2 wingers, like I've just said, even Leonardo Trossard when he comes on, even Emile Smith-Rowe, if he does come on, there's no aerial threat there whatsoever. So in that game, it's got to be Tino starting, man. I mean, Bukayo Saka on the right-hand side is a fantastic player, and he's got end product as well. But not just that, if Dan Burn starts, the main catalyst to why Arsenal will win that game and will attack that left-hand side of Newcastle United, and will be preparing for this game if Dan Burn starts there, is Bukayo Saka's pace. We've seen it with Ogbene, we've seen it with Semenyo, we've seen it with so many players. Hwang Hee-chan at the start of the season. Honestly, there's just so many off the top of my head. Darwin Núñez on the right-hand side. There is plenty more. They don't go into the game plan. They don't go and pinpoint their attack. They don't go and pinpoint the midfield. They go and pinpoint that left-hand side where Dan Burn is. And it's happened so many times this season. Tino Livramento needs to start in the game. It's as set in stone as that, lads. You let me know who you'd start down below. But for me personally, it's got to be Tino Livramento to match Bukayo Saka's pace. Apart from that, if there was aerial threat, Dan Burn would be starting for me. But another question I wanted to ask you, ladies and gentlemen, just before we wrap up the match preview, with Joe Willock and Alexander Isak coming back into the team, let's just say they are both extremely match fit to start this game. I know they might not be, but just for the concept of the video, they are both match fit. Would you start both players, or if not, would you start one or the other, or would you not start them at all? You let me know down below if you'd start them in the start 11. For me personally, both players getting there straight away. Alexander Isak, he's one of the best players in the team. We need to, for example, if we go all out defensive for this game and we get one chance, Alexander Isak is your man. Bags of pace, and he's got very, very good end product as well. His composure in front of goal, it's just one chance we need, and it could be a 1-0 scrappy win at Newcastle United. And just to shut them Arsenal fans up, fingers crossed we can get a 99th minute win off a deflection in the back of the net, and we've been battered all game. Fingers crossed that happens. But for Joe Willock, on the other hand, for me... Oh, sorry, back on Alexander Isak. I didn't finish my point off there. He's got to play there because against Bournemouth and other teams, we've seen where we've really sort of lacked that striker presence, where we've got that players are scared of Alexander Isak's shot. They're scared of his presence in front of goal because they know how fantastic he is. With Gordon there, look, bless him at striker. I absolutely love him. He's been the best player this season for me, undoubtedly. His pace, his work rate, but at striker, he doesn't pose a real threat whatsoever. But with Alexander Isak starting, that kind of begs another question. Who goes on the left-hand side of him and who goes on the right-hand side? Of course, both wings. We could have Harvey Barnes on the left. We could have Gordon on the right. We could have Gordon on the left. We could have Miggy on the right. We could have Harvey Barnes on the left. We could have Miggy on the right. So you let me know what your front three would be. But for me personally, it's got to be Alexander Isak up top. It's got to be Harvey Barnes on the left because he's absolutely unbelievable. And it's got to be Gordon on the right. I know he's not as great on the right, but actually, if we go full on defensive in this game, I probably would drop Harvey Barnes and I'd put Gordon on the left, Miggy on the right for one reason and one reason only. Of course, Harvey Barnes is the best winger out of Almiron in that too. But if we are going full on defensive and we need that energetic pace to get back, Miggy and Gordon are your two men there. But for Joe Willock, for me, get straight in the 11. I think some Newcastle fans have seen the absence of Joe Willock and we've been underrating him so much. He is such a fantastic player going forward. He's got that pace, but not just that. He's got that versatility to play on the left wing and to play in left centre mid as well. And not just that, he covers the left-hand side as well defensively. All along that left-hand side, he's absolutely superb. Honestly, his sort of welcoming back can't be granted as much more as it already will. What a fantastic player. But for my score prediction for this game, lads, I'm going to be real. If Eddie Howe starts Dan Burn, which I'm never going to question Eddie Howe, but if he starts Dan Burn and Bukayo Saka gets the best of him, if Arsenal get an early goal in this game, I think it could be 3-0 Arsenal. And I think if Dan Burn starts this game, Tino's just got... I don't want to say anything about Eddie Howe, but Tino has just got to start this game. Simple as, ladies and gentlemen. But I do believe... Off the back of my head, look, 3-0 Arsenal is my head if they get an early goal. But if not, I'll believe 1-2-0 Arsenal. But I always go for Geordie Just score prediction, don't I, ladies and gentlemen? I always go for buy score prediction. I'm going to go 1-0 to Newcastle United, 99th minute. Dan Burn, deflection, back of the net. Arsenal fans shouting and bawling. Oh my God, I'd pay to see that. I'd be going absolutely ballistic. I don't normally do match reactions, but if we win that game in the most scummiest faction, I'll be making a video and I probably will be going live. But of course I am going live streaming for the game, so make sure you tune in for that as well for a live watch along. That have been Geordie Josh. If you've enjoyed the video, hit the like button, and if not already, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on the game down below, and of course the questions that I have asked. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Geordie Josh. Go and enjoy your day, people.